Okay. So, welcome back. If you've seen the first two clips, and if you haven't, do watch them by way of introduction to this one. Today we are getting into the socials. So the third video is about the medium, and in the world of socials, this means the platforms you shortlist and will choose from. Each platform you will need to apply the perceivable norms. You can get direction on those with a few internet searches and narrow down how you want to go about it. Be attentive to what you're reading. Look at when it was posted and who wrote it, which outlet is putting it out. Check when it was published, and try and assess who the audience might be. Are they who are they pitching it to? And if you choose to share it on one of your socials, be sure that it's relevant to your brand and is in line with what you stand for. So you should be seeing Reddit at the moment. It really is a good one. This is how we do now. This is the way I certainly, if I'm out and about, this is where I hold it up here, partly because of my neck. And it's not like I made this up. I've seen other people doing it before me. And it means that I can use my peripheral vision, obviously. It's not going to work if it's busy, but during lockdown it's fine. So it goes up here, and that way I can fiddle and fuss with it and still keep an eye on what's going on around me. So great fun. I never get enough time to spend on it. It is excellent for research, I must say. You can drop many an hour on socials very easily. I mean, it works like this. You've got a blog, video blog or an audio blog. You push your best content out at regular intervals. Could be weekly, daily or monthly. On the whole, the more frequent you do it, the more traction you'll get. And then you'll go to Twitter and Instagram and probably Facebook and you'll plug it. That's a pretty standard way to go. There are established strategies, proven even. People will tell you, and by all means, research alongside while you're watching this or listening to this, and find a strategy that fits for you. Just be sure that you'll have the time to fulfill the commitment for it. More on that later, and it is also the topic of the next video. So what we'll do now is we'll look at the next slide. So thank you for being here. This is one of 4 videos for the University of Westminster School of Life Sciences Starting Your Practice module by Liz Hawkins. My name is Wyler Lazab, and we'll be hands-on today with social media, immediately and directly applying it. Blogging regularly and consistently, offering value and framing each blog as part of an arc, taking readers toward a distinct conclusion. Could be you're exemplifying one of your personal or professional values, making particular points in each post. Make sure the topic for each post in the series is planned ahead. Be organised, but also be relatable. Identify challenges and relate to frustrations. Once complete, use social media to reach out. And you'll read that you shouldn't be pushy and you should only be selling 10 to 20% of the time. Prepare a newsletter, goes out before each blog, telling of the upcoming one as well as highlighting the previous ones. So right now, have your phones, your tablets and devices ready. and I highly, highly recommend you have a computer too. And if your peers, your friends or your family are to hand, use them, use each other, post to each other, comment and like and so forth. On to the next slide. So everything I just said, forget it. Forget all of it and strive to be different. Particularly tiresome is the notion of only selling 10 to 20% of the time. If you work for yourself, you're always representing what you do. You're always representing what you sell. I know it's referring to, how much you should talk about the cost and your services and so on, what you get for Y, if you pay for X, but in reality, the other 80 to 90% of everything you do is about exactly the same thing. Just say it and do it differently. Stick to staying in touch with your network. Make sure that you support your network, have them support you. And it's your current network as it stands. That's one of the most important things that you can draw from. I mean your real world network, not just the network that you're building on socials. Which, by the way, if at all possible, you should build with genuine contact, genuine interaction. I don't believe in accepting invitations from people I have no connections with or no knowledge of. I will at least reach out to them and ask them what they're doing this week. Is there anything that I can support them on? Let them know what I do, as well as listen to what they have to say. And if they don't get back to me, then I'm really not that interested in adding them to my network. So your real world network, as it stands right now, is something to be built upon. And it will facilitate a boost in your socials just by letting them know. Pick up the phone. Meeting them for a drink, having a coffee, tell people what you're up to, let them know you're online, let them know how to find you. So, in unpacking this slide, in terms of forgetting everything that I said over the first two slides, use the socials that you like, the ones you want to use. This, above all things, will mean that you're much more likely to stand there doing it time and time again. The more that you work in an area that you're comfortable with, or at the very least that you want to be working in, the more likely you are to keep going. So pick the ones that you actually like. Yes, it is important to find out and to learn where your audience live on socials, and that will come in due course. Because I'm sure you can assume, quite fairly in my eyes, that your audience will be across several socials. So let's focus on the ones that you're most comfortable with first. Now, your names, your nicks, your handles, try and keep them as close to the same as is possible. I mean, let's face it, possibly every decent name under the sun has been taken. Think of something unique as best you can and try and replicate it across all your platforms as well as your websites. Now, device before dashboard. Yes, I said it's very important to have a computer. But more and more people just use their mobile all the time. You need to be used to that. You need to be getting into the mobile apps. Instagram, for example, you can't even post on the website, so you have to use the app. Keep the devices at hand. I personally don't use tablets very much, but I have a phone that doubles as a tablet. So use them constantly, frequently, not just for socials, just use them in general. And to the title here, safe is risky, risky is safe. One of the founding pillars of my entrance into social media. It is for me a truism, among a few others, that I feel that if you play it safe, you probably won't get the traction. You'll get some traction from some people, but you're not going to get much traction. And if you take a chance, possibly just reach out a little beyond your comfort zone, you will find that in time, if not immediately, things can go viral, you will find that you will get traction. I credit this to two people in particular, and if you know who they might be, if you know me and you're in my network, you might know who those two people are. And if you can guess who they are, please in the comments below, and you may get a prize. I don't know what you'll get, frankly. I'll think about that, but you may well get a prize. Remember, as we do this, that we are not into socials for socials themselves. So we're not really after click-throughs or AdWords, affiliate marketing or pyramid malarkey, any of that business. If you want to do that kind of thing, which there may come a point where you can or you do want to, then there's many resources out there for you. We are really here to promote your practice, as we've said, yourself. So don't forget that as we go through this. I'm going to bring up for you a selection. You'll know, of course, that there are many social platforms. So there are indeed many ways in which you can represent yourself. So we will do that through one of these or one of many others. I don't know what you're watching this on, but if you were to pull up all of them, I mean, there's 30 plus, I think, that people will suggest can be good for promotion, for branding. So you need to pick through those and decide for yourself which are relevant. Right, and before I forget, it is important, it doesn't get said enough, that you change your passwords. You must. It's really, really important. Your minimum is every 6 months. I would suggest every 3 months, every 2 months if you can do it. And don't be waiting to do them all at the same time. There's no need for that. No need at all. You can just, we perhaps might touch on this in the next video, because it can be scheduled and you can just do the ones that you need to do at certain times. If you're going to do every single password on one day, I bet you can even do them in a day. So, certain passwords do on one date, different ones on another, and so on. It really is vital. Now, obviously, we have many password and account. And I'm just going to bring up now as well. Hang on a second. Where is it? We must remember that obviously many are going to be handled on your device. So, looking at our device, there we are. I mean, there's many more than this, obviously. Video's a big deal. We can address that also if you like. It's important to remember as well that your regulars, even your regulars like Pinterest and Twitter even, and certainly Instagram, they are now having, their version of television essentially. So you'll be able to broadcast whatever it is that you want to broadcast via these. So, informational clips, a video of you doing a certain thing with a certain patient, or perhaps a colleague, an assistant, whatever it may be. Think of video all the time. It is by far and away the most viewed and, for my mind, the most enjoyed. Not for everything, but I will certainly look for video clips as often as I can. It lends itself to certain things more than others. If I need to do a fix on my computer, I don't really need a video of it. I just want a list of instructions. But if I want to, put up a light, then I may well want to see how it's installed rather than just read about how it's installed. So bear that in mind. Now, I was going to skip Facebook altogether, but I think what we're going to do is at the very least run through how to do a post. I far too often see that people do not know how to tag people, how to tag companies, and really We need to be able to do that. So we're going to go to Facebook here. And we're going to write a post. So what we're also going to need is a link. Bear with me. Now what I'm hoping we'll also be able to see the PC and the computer's Facebook alongside. We will get to that shortly, and then we'll be able to compare the two. Let's find a news item. Digital data, let's see what's in the news. Now what I'm doing at this point is looking through, paywall, forget it. Doesn't count as news if you ask me. Yes, did read about the US government and Google. Details emerge. Sentinel surveillance. Yes, I think that it could well be here to stay. That's Canadian. French watchdog. Well, let's have a go at that one. It's a Reuters piece. It's a bit old though. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab the link. Alright. Then we're going to go to Facebook. European. P would be nice. Oh, I see. European observers in France also worried for COVID data. Now then, we're going to go back here for a second. Right. Privacy rights. CNIL. So we're going to see if CNIL have a Facebook page. As you're going to put the @ sign in. CNIL. Oh, there it was. Did you see that? CNIL. There we go. So now they're tagged, and what will happen when you post this is that they'll get pinged, and they may see that ping, they may not, but you've done what you can at this point, because they're at least going to be alerted to the fact that they were mentioned in this post. I see no commissions, and let's see what we've got here. Speak up. Speak out on privacy rights. Privacy rights. Privacy rights. Asking for authorities. Asking authorities to request consent. And then we're going to put another one in. We're going to say Reuters. We're just going to go with Reuters here. Reuters. Peace. And then I'm going to paste our link. That will pop, hopefully, the card up. Well, I would have preferred it was, let's see, do they have a picture here or not? Alright. Well, had they a picture, we'd see the picture. So this way, Reuters as well as CNIL will get pinged. Okay? So we're going to share that now. Scheduling and additional posting features are available in the Pages Manager app. We're not going to get to the Pages Manager app today. This is fine for now. News feed. We're not going to boost or promote. And we're going to go share. So you must put in that @ sign, write the name of the organization or the person. Works for individuals who have Facebook pages. And then you'll see now these are links. So CNIL have just been alerted to the fact that a person has mentioned them in a post. Obviously, we are one of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who are doing that. So it may not ripple with them. In theory, anyone following them, this will also come up in their feed. We shall see if there's any traction on that. Reuters will also get pinged. I don't expect that to garner any interest from Reuters really, but this is the very basic level at which you can try and engage with companies, people's organizations beyond your network. Or you can buy ads. That's also an option. Let's pause there. And about time, I think. Onward to the next slide. Yes, very important to consider. We've covered many of these things. This is really just so that you can focus in on them. Certainly, yes, be yourself, absolutely, and be the best yourself that you can. Pick your favorite platform or platforms and be patient. Work towards goals which are more than likely already in your business plans. Your goals for socials are in alignment, or should be in alignment with those goals. And by all means, you know, we touched upon this too. You must absorb, take in, look at, enjoy what other people are doing on socials. Don't copy, right? I mean, you take what other people do, you adapt it, you develop it, you make it your own. Moving on. And if you've got it to hand, you can fire up TweetDeck. We will be using that next. I must point out the unnecessary obsession with follow account. It is not the be all and end all, and actually there are so many other analytics, so much other data that you can look through that will provide you with much more useful information. I think one analogy that almost works, is if you think of your business. Consider that your follow account could be compared to the turnover, and the profit would be compared to the engagement. So in other words, how often are people reaching out to you? Do they like your posts? Do they share them? That's really what you're after. TweetDeck is not, in my experience, was not very good on the mobile. I tried it a while back. It works in the sense that you can fire it up. You just go to the URL on your browser, but there's so much you can do with TweetDeck. It is not really, even on the computer, You do have to build up to it. There's a learning curve. We're going to go over some of the initial stages to setting it up, and we are also going to compare it with twitter.com, as both are really useful. And in terms of mobile, the Twitter app is great. I do recommend you have a second app, not a second Twitter app, but one of the other third-party apps. But I'll show you that a little bit later. To TweetDeck, and first thing we will do is log in. I will make the assumption that you have got an account. If you haven't, you should log in, or create one rather, with Twitter, which we can also go to here. Here are the two accounts I plan to log in with. So let's say I log in with this one here. Now, when you first log in, it is quite likely all of this will be empty. And what will happen is a series of queues will come up, much as any social media platform when you are logging in for the first time. What are you interested in? What do you like to do? So on, and it will then present to you options regarding who and which accounts you might follow. I generally don't answer those, skip it all, and just search whatever it is I'm doing that day or working on. So let's start with something very straightforward. So I won't select any of those. I will just hit return on healthy living, and it presents me with a column of the recent tweets that use that expression. I will also do a search on field I'm familiar with and work with regularly, and I will use the hashtag. And here is a selection of tweets using the hashtag DigiHealth. Now, should there be accounts within these results that you like their tweet, you click on their name, brings you up their card, and then what you can do further still is click again to go through to their twitter.com profile. Here you can look through their tweets, see what it is that they're talking about. You can then, should you want to, click follow. They will be alerted to that fact. And then here you could go and add them or remove them from a list. And we will come to lists next. Let's go to TweetDeck. Should you want to do that through TweetDeck, you would find out which account it is you'd like to follow. Click on these dots here. You can go to follow. Again, they will be alerted, and then should you want to, you can then also add or remove them from lists. As you can see, there are various choices. Now, a list. You will select add column. These columns are very much like these background ones that we've already opened, and we will select list. We will cover some of these shortly, and through this you can create a list, give it the name that you feel fits. By all means, enter a description. If it's public, everyone will be able to see the list and also the tweets that are generated by those accounts that are in the list. Private will mean that no one will know that you have that list. It may be of use. You will hit save and then you will have a selection of suggestions from which you can choose to add to your list should you want to. Now, the advantage in doing this is, should I be looking up any subject matter related to digital health, I can immediately pull up this column that highlights for me the people and the organizations that are connected to digital health. As you progress through Twitter, you will build up a lot of accounts that you are following. Rather than wading through all of them, let me show you here. If you were to click home and create a column for home, this would show you all the tweets that are put out by the accounts you're following. Say you have 50, 100, in time you will have many more. To save you wading through all of that, we have a column here that just shows us the accounts that are listing digital health tweets that you have selected. So, a very helpful and handy tool. The home column, by all means, leave it up. I usually leave mine over to the far left. I generally work from left to right. I typically also add a column of notifications. What this will do is show you anytime an account tweets about you and mentions you, anytime someone shares or retweets what you do, and also whenever someone follows you. These are also columns that you can add individually. Here we have one for likes, we have one for followers, we have one for mentions. If you choose to add these individually, of course you can, and in time you may need to. If you're starting out with a new account, it is not so likely that you will need it immediately. We must briefly go over followers. Followers and bots. Spam bots, spammers, and followers. It's time we addressed what to do with the followers. We're not counting them. We've already said that. However, we should acknowledge, and there are several ways we can do this. If we take a look here at followers, it's important that when you get a new follower, and TweetDeck is very handy for this because you can of course create a column of notifications or indeed a column of followers. When you get a new follower, you can choose to follow back should you want to, and you will then be able to message back and forth. They call it DMing. As you message back and forth, you can begin, if you like, a bit of dialogue, engage in some sort of conversation. Now, there used to be a very popular thing called Follow Friday. I shall show you here. And much as I have said before, I'll say it again, tweets that are full of hashtags, not ideal, not good posting on Twitter. Save that for Instagram, and even with Instagram there are ways of going about it. Now, along with Follow Friday, you also have things like Throwback Thursday, you have all sorts of hashtags. By all means, look into them. Use them as a way of not only celebrating your followers, but growing your network. It is likely that among the people you tag when you do such a post, that they may well indeed choose to retweet it and share it. What to do initially, I think, is simply to say thanks for following me. How are you? How's your day going? Etc. etc. Now, in the long run, you want lists that the followers which you get on with and really enhance your network will be in their own list. That way you can see immediately what those followers are talking about and engage with them. You will no doubt have many lists in due course. What to do about bots? First, let's identify a bot. How do we know what a bot is? To identify bots, and spammers, there are indicators that you will come across. If you go into settings and privacy, this is on twitter.com, this is not TweetDeck. You can change the display. I quite like having it on dark, but let's put it on bright. Now go to settings and privacy, click privacy and safety, and here I believe blocked accounts. If a bot starts following me or a spammer starts following me, they don't add value, and in fact they do the opposite. So oftentimes tweeting the same line of text, the same link, time and time again. Some don't have pictures, that's a giveaway. Also, sometimes not tweeting at all. What happens with bots and spammers is they attract more bots and spammers, and if you leave them as a follower and not block them, they have access to your network. Oh, and do, by the way, of course, take a break whenever you should need one. The power is yours to behold. Press pause and go have a cup of tea. Shortly, how to tweet via mobile and how to use the hashtag, and indeed what a hashtag is. See you after the break.
It's intermission time, folks, so hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, mouth-watering goodies, everything from a snack to a delicious full meal. At our refreshment center, you'll find a large variety of goodies to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, or your sweet tooth. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Visit our refreshment center now.
From here, we will move on to tweeting via mobile and covering hashtags. With the mobile now on Twitter, it's relatively straightforward, as much as I said earlier, you'll need a couple of apps, not just the one. Let's bring up our mobile. First, we're gonna need to find something to tweet about. So let us do that. Use. And we're looking really for, let me just fix this. It's recent, let's go past year. Right. That might be a little difficult to see. And I'll say bye for now. But I'll be back shortly. Right. So, I don't know what ear seeds are. It seems like an interesting topic. You can see obviously it's Marie Claire. And what we need to do is figure out how we're going to post about this, what hashtags we might use, and who, if anyone, we might mention. That would mean putting in their Twitter username in such a way that it alerts them to the post being published, as well as those that follow that account. What we'll do is I will take, not that one, take this, and I will copy that, and I will go to Twitter. Let's start composing our tweet. I'm going to start here with the phrase that we copied. And then we're going to try and put in, if we can guess the right username. There we go. And then we're going to go back to the piece. So let's copy that. And then we'll see if she's mentioned anywhere else, if there's any cosmetic acupuncturist. That's all we've got. So we will go to our browser and we'll put in oh, there it was, acupuncture. Here we are. Hopefully this will be the same person. Cosmetic acupuncture, yeah. And she is on Twitter. So if I click here on Twitter now, it is more than likely going to take over my Twitter app, and I will lose what I had just been composing. So instead what I will do is I will go to my alternate tweeting app, and what we'll do from here is search for, go to people, here we go, let's see if this is her, maybe, yes, super, okay. So we've got her Twitter handle at Sarah Braddon, so we shall go back to our tweet. And now we will go and check who it was who wrote the piece. And I think that was mentioned up here at the top. Let's do a search. I'm going to say that's her on Instagram. And here we are, I'm going to say that's her, Sam McMeeks. Let's go check out if that's correct. Go to the people option, here we go, right. So, let's now go back to our tweet. Okay, there we are, of ear seeds, right. And then what we want to do, now it's possible that ear seeds is a hashtag, we should probably check that, so let's have a quick go checking that, right, hashtag ear seeds. So as you can see, only one occurrence of that. We're not going to use that hashtag in this case. Instead, what I will do is just do a quick check, but frankly I'm sure it will be available as a popular hashtag. Yes. So many a tweet using acupressure. Remember again, the hashtag is contextual, provides you an ability to categorize your tweet in such a manner that others looking for information about acupressure will be able to find it. Let us go back here. Ear seeds. And then what of course you must also do is go and get the link. Don't forget that. Copy the link. Go back to your tweet. Paste that. And then we shall tweet that. Traditional Chinese medicine, says Sarah Bratton in Mary Claire piece by Sam Meeks of Ear Seeds. Acupressure. Well, let's change that to about ear seeds. Let's tweet that. Now, if we just will check, let's have a quick look as to how that looks on twitter.com. Each of the platforms will display tweets in a different way. Yeah, lovely, huh? So let's find that. Where are we? Here we are. And then let's also try and look it up on twitter.com. There we go. What one prefers is that the card be placed here, much as you see with these other tweets. So let us just check if the link actually takes us there. It does. I will perhaps ping Marie Claire with an email letting them know that their Twitter cards aren't being published. Next thing we must try is what you would do were you to tweet from an event. Networking. Here we are going to come across many. Let us see if this indeed will suffice. I believe it shall. If we go through to this piece here. Now the process on the mobile for tweeting from an event, when they start up again, in live events that is not too dissimilar for what we just did with the article on the mobile, in as much as you want to find a little nugget that will fit in a sentence that you can post about and tag the people who are involved in that event, possibly the session that you're attending and the speaker and the hashtag for the session, possibly the hashtag for the event also. It can be a good idea to begin with the speakers. So once you have your schedule of who's speaking when, look through to see what they do and whether they are active on socials. So let us, for example, take Michelle Williams here. There we are. We haven't started our tweet yet, so it's fine to click on that. See how it takes us to the Twitter app immediately. And we can see that she is indeed very active. You can tell by the frequency of her posts, in as much as she's tweeting every day or retweeting every day, several times a day sometimes. When you come across accounts where perhaps they have not been tweeting very much, you have to make a choice as to whether you want to include their name as a mention, including their account name, or whether just to write their name normally. I always feel it's worth putting their account name in regardless. So what we would do at this point is we would take the name at Harvard Chandine. We would then go to compose. Oh, there you go, it's plunked it in for us already, that's great. And then let's say we wanted to do the same with one of the other keynotes. We could then check Mary Jo Kreitzer, and let's open a window. There she is. LinkedIn. Now what we can do here is we can just check out LinkedIn, see if her account on LinkedIn also mentions her Twitter name. It can sometimes be listed on there under contact information if they have published it. So if we see all on contact information, no mention of Twitter, but let us go to the website. No immediately obvious. What you could also do, obviously, is you could use the Twitter handle of the University of Minnesota, but let us check our other Twitter app and see if she has an account for the other things. And we can see that people tweeting about her for sure. It's possible that she herself doesn't tweet. Let's just be sure of that and check with a somewhat amended search. So here we see Mary Jo Kreitzer listed on twitter.com. So again, if I click on this twitter.com link, it will remove what I've been composing and I will lose my tweet. So what I would like to do is go to our alternative. Right, so that is the same address. Mary Jo Kreitzer. Now in this instance, it would not necessarily be worthwhile using her account name. Doesn't appear that she's using this. If indeed it is her, it could well be anybody else with the same name. So in this instance, you would likely tag the University of Minnesota with that account name and mention Mary Jo Kreitzer by name.
And now, introducing the one, the only, the formidable hashtag. Well, it is time to look at the hashtag. What is it for? What do we do with it? How did it come to be? No, I'm kidding about that bit. So, the hashtag in all its glory is now used across so many different platforms. It initially, I believe, came to be on Twitter first. So I will talk to you about Twitter firstly. It is something you use to provide your tweet, to provide what you're tweeting about, context. So that for an example that we used earlier, we used acupressure. And obviously, if you wanted to find out about acupressure, you could just type in acupressure. But you might get all kinds of topics that mention acupressure but aren't exactly about it. So if you are posting specifically on acupressure, you would use hashtag and then acupressure. Also bear in mind that you shouldn't be using too many. I will direct your attention to a very good, in my opinion, a very good blog. and it is called the Hootsuite blog. Pretty well known, pretty well established. I think it's been around possibly as long as I have in terms of social media. So it really does present information very cleanly, and it's very much by the book. But I would not be sure about this. There you go, you can look it up yourselves. Here we are looking at its various uses and various do's and don'ts. The bit that I want to show you is down here. Okay, thank you very much. I will show you how to use. So I agree with this one about Twitter. And you should not overuse them, essentially, and use them just when you need to. That's really the rule. Keep it relative, connected to what you're posting about. And the thing about Facebook here, and I slightly disagree, is that Twitter was built around hashtags. They were there from the get-go with Twitter. Now, for Facebook, they were a bit of an add-on. So I'm not sure really that hashtags do work or do make any difference at all on Facebook, although you can search by them. Perhaps that's the best thing to come out of it. Again, come to Instagram, built around hashtags. So as haphazardly as they are applied on Instagram, they are very much a part of posting. And I would advise you to at least read and consider what they say here about them. It does change from time to time. Hashtag usage changes. It evolves and develops, and it certainly has evolved quickly on Instagram, less so on Twitter. But it is something that you want to apply, again, contextually, but with many more. So you can use them. It always says, write a regular caption. Don't fill your caption with hashtags, but instead add a comment to your post that is full of hashtags. That will draw people to your post, and then they can just read the post without being bothered by a huge list of hashtags. But there are other ways to do that. What you need to also understand is that when the socials began, it was very easy to collect followers, and now that is not the case. So you can fill your posts with hashtags from here until, next year if you like, and you will not really gain any traction, and if anything, it will annoy people. So bear in mind all of what is said in this blog. Again, we will come to this blog again in the next video because they provide some excellent tools for timekeeping and for organizing your posting. Their dashboard is also very good, and we will come to that in the next video also. Now we are nearly there. So if you're still here, you know the one. Bravo. We are going to just very briefly mention video. It is not something to take on board lightly, but I do want to show you an example that is crucial to social media in terms of presenting yourself. So the examples I have here are three different YouTubers with a clip each, and the homework is going to be based around this, so do pay attention. And let's start with
I have put together the cheapest music studio possible. Everything you need to start making music for $350, including the computer. Yes, the computer, audio interface, speakers, keyboard, and the software. So
for me, I was ahead at $350. Who knew? An excellent hook. He goes on to demo the equipment, and that's really a great way to grab your audience. If you're into music and recording your own music. Let me show you another.
I only very recently found out what a nutmeg is. Clearly a cause for hilarity among footballers, and should you wish to find out yourselves, unless you already know, do watch on in your own time. But again, a novel, entertaining way to grab a viewer. Lastly, keen to keep things topical, there's this. So a superb intro in my mind, in that it's very catchy, it's very easy to watch, it doesn't go on very long, and there are tools online to help you build such intros, just as there are tools to help you build logos. It goes on, and as you'll see, it's very much a lo-fi production, very easily produced in one's home, if not one's living room. So within, what was it? Let's just check. There you go, within 5 seconds, all the socials are up. Can't go wrong there. So, 3 very effective, in my opinion, ways of hooking the audience. And please, as soon as you're looking through these in order to get through your homework, it's a hook that needs to be applied on each medium. So as you're ploughing through all the tweets, flicking through all the Instagram photos, look and see which ones hold your interest beyond those that are part of your network and you're automatically interested in, and see what you can adapt and apply, develop and make your own. So, of those 3 clips, I want you to find one thing that each of them do that you could potentially adapt and use yourself. And I'm not talking about just video. Go to their Twitter feeds, go to their Instagram, go to whichever platforms they're on that you want to go to, and find me one thing for each of them that you would adapt and use for yourself. Alternatively, I always like to give you a choice. Alternatively, you can find 3 things from one of them. How's that? If you really like one of them, you can find 3 things from one of them. And thirdly, if you don't like any of them, you can find your own YouTuber and give me 3 things. Okay? As I say, nearly done. The next video in the series will be on how to plan all of this, how to schedule it, where do you find the time. And it's not that it's difficult, it's really about making it important. And for the many social media platforms which we could not cover today, please, in the comments. As you know, we have come very close to the end. Here we are now. Of course, questions, suggestions, do pass them on. Do use the comments should you prefer. And lastly, thank you very much for your time, and I'm very pleased to be delivering this to you. So re-watch this, re-listen to it as you see fit, take away what you can, build on it, use it, and for what you're not sure about, try it anyway. You know, if you want to ping me, feel free. If you want to let Liz know, that's good too. All the best for your day, and look forward to seeing you at the next session.